Afternoon, good evening. I'm Julie Votel, your Singer Island District 4 representative on the City of Riviera Beach City Council and the CRA and the Utility District Board, for that matter. Thank you for coming out on this very, very warm evening. We know we have a small crowd here, but plenty of people watching from home. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to this quarterly Singer Island Town Hall meeting. I do these on the last Thursday of the last month of every quarter, so that we try to keep up to date and keep us honest about everything. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Jonathan Evans first. He's our city manager, and ask him to introduce the other folks who are here. And I'm changing up the agenda a little bit this evening. We had intended to start with a progress report for the city manager and staff, but we're going to start with the comprehensive plan first. And so I'll ask Mr. Evans to introduce everyone, and then we'll introduce Sunid, who will take the comprehensive plan portion. Mr. Evans.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I've got the best and the brightest here in Palm Beach County, some new faces that are rounding out our administrative team. So obviously you will hear from Sunid that will talk about our comprehensive plan and the work that they're doing, and I think you're going to be really excited about the efforts. We have Ms. Sarah Maxfield here. She's our new business and economic development manager. We were able to snatch her away from Delray Beach, has extensive experience, and excited to have her on board. Mr. Terrence Bailey, he is our city engineer, works on a lot of our capital projects. A lot of the infrastructure improvements that you're seeing throughout the city is a testament to the efforts and work that Mr. Bailey is putting on. In Fire Station 88, that is going to be the grand opening on July 8th. Mr. Bailey was the project manager on that. And if you haven't had the opportunity to go into the facilities with any staff person, please let us know. We'd love to be able to show you the facility or come out to the grand opening, but you will be very impressed on the work that staff has done to bring that facility to life. We have our new top cop, Chief Coleman, has extensive experience. Excited to have him on board. He's really hit the ground running. Him and I have had a great working relationship. I tell him all the time he's applied for this job 3 times and stuck it in with us, and we're really excited to have him on board. And he's really changing a lot of the things that our law enforcement team's doing. And I think when you hear about the plans that he has for patrolling in this community, you're going to be pleasantly surprised on the new direction that we're looking to embark upon. And then obviously our deputy chief, Mr. Coppin here, comes great experience. And yesterday I had an opportunity to meet some folks from West Palm, and they're like, you know, you didn't just get a great deputy chief. You got actually somebody that I put in, and this was an elected official that I recommended to be the police chief of the city of West Palm. So definitely a lot of bandwidth and a lot of strength in the police department's team. So we're excited for what these folks are going to be doing for our community, and excited for the feedback from the residents. And then obviously we have our command staff. We have Major Josh Lewis. We have Captain Gordon, and then Major Travis Walker in the back, and then Assistant Chief Mike Madden, Assistant City Manager Deirdre Jacobs, and then we have Sergeant Fashaw, that's part of our traffic unit. So if you know Sergeant Fashaw, you need to slow down, okay? Just saying, if you know him by name. And then the man that makes everything happen, Walter Stevens, I can tell you probably the most important man in the city because these meetings don't happen without Walter. So he's the one-man band, but we appreciate it. And so I'm going to go ahead, and I think Sunid's up first. So Sunid, go ahead and do your thing.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sunid Simon. I'm our new principal planner for long-range planning, and which means that I get to have the fun part of hanging out with you all around the city. And we'll talk a little bit more about what I do. But I'm going to try to work with Walter to see if I make this work. This is my fun commercial that I had done, but I don't see it everywhere, so I'm going to make sure everyone sees it. Ready, Walter? No need. It's all good.
Riviera Beach is home to some of the most beautiful, most majestic waterways in all of the state of Florida.
My Riviera Beach, I want to be, is a good place for its programs.
I love working at Riviera Beach because the community is great, the people are nice, and there's a lot of room for advancement.
What I enjoyed most about Riviera Beach was the beautiful kayaking experience in the bluest of waters.
I love Riviera
for the next about 20 years is what we're working on right now, and you're going to work with me as I'm not technically savvy. Here we go. Awesome. Did it work? I'm working on this. Awesome. So what we're working on right now is what do we want to see our city look like, feel like, and be like in the next 20 years? And so my job is to work on our comprehensive plan. And you all hear about the comprehensive plan when we're trying to make different decisions, and we're like, well, maybe I want to kind of adjust it this way. But the comp plan says we want to do it this way, right? And so everyone's like, well, what does this plan really say? And so that's what we're working on, is trying to figure out what does it say, what should it say, and what do we want it to say. And I'm here today because I am trying to get your words into our plans. I want to get our participation from our public so and say, this is the vision I have for where I live. This is what I'd love for it to feel like, and this is what I'd love for my children to be able to either inherit or be able to be a part of at the same time, or even if they decide they no longer want to be here, but they're able to show it to their children, show it to their friends, have visitors come in and encourage a space. So this is our comprehensive plan. What is it? Our book of policies. This is our guiding document. This is a document that tells us how is everything supposed to run. Everyone here, they're talking about different things that are stemmed from our comp plan. When you hear comprehensive plan, it's our comp plan. This plan is that's pretty much, like I said, it was our guiding document. So like the basics happens up here, and then all their different master plans that they have for their departments, it stems from our comprehensive plan. And so, how do we do this? It's used by our city leaders, as you know, as they make their decisions every day. It's because they're saying, well, actually, we wanted a place that's vibrant. Actually, we wanted to have mixed use over here. So we'll have our commercial right here, and maybe we'll put apartments on top, because that was the vision of our community. We're working from a plan that was developed about 10 to 20 years ago. And I say 10 to 20 years because most of it's from 2000. We've looked at it, we've edited it, we've amended, we've bended, we've modified it in 2010. And then every day we've been tweaking. Right? So now it's time for us to kind of do an overhaul and decide, is this truly our vision? When we have our different council meetings and you have people come in, they line up and they're saying, well, this is not what we wanted. Or they're saying, I think we need to change this. And this is how we start to do that. This is where we come in. So before I begin pushing buttons, and I'll just start up here. Oh, no. Before I get there, I want you to notice at your seat or next to your seat, I put my little flyers because my goal is to push this out to the city. I put my little flyers, and one is a little bit of blurb on comprehensive plan. And then as you're thinking about it, you're driving home today or you're walking your dog, you're going to be like, hey, you know what? I have an issue that I want to talk about, maybe where people park their boats. You're going to send Sinead a little note on your left-hand side. You see all our contacts. You're going to send me a note saying, hey, these are some of my thoughts that I have. I like this place to be greener. I'd love for this place to have more water. I'd love for more parks. You're going to send me your ideas. Why? Because I'm going to pull your ideas. I'm going to put it with our experts here who work here, as well as our consulting team that we're working with in order to guide the policies that will be placed into our comprehensive plan. The other page you'll see is a little bit of a survey, really short. I made it 5 questions, so it's not too much, right? This survey, it's a little small. I do have bigger pages if you need it, but I would love your input. And so if you have a pen with you today, go ahead, start doing that, That'd be great for me. So we're going to talk a little bit about where our city is. Right now, one of the things that we found is our city is getting a little bit older. We don't have as much of our younger population. Our under 5 is starting to be a little bit depleted. We've lost about 3%. 3 to 4% of our younger population, and we're starting to get more of a population of what we call our working group. They're the ones that will hopefully multiply in order for us to have more kids, in order to grow the city. But at the same time, they have the income to grow our city. We are also getting a little bit older population on our higher end, which is great, which means that we also have what comes with that is leisure. That comes with that, and hopefully more dining. We've also learned that our poverty level has decreased by 3%. So now we're getting a little bit more income coming into the city in order to grow our city in different ways. So this has come as part of our draft reports that have come from our consulting team. Our consulting team is Calvin Giordano and Associates, and they've been working on this for the last, I'd say, really about the last 6 months is when they've done the big push and getting this together. And you're able to, let me see if it works now. You're able to see all our drafts. You're able to see anything that they come up with on our website, because we have a website. It is Riviera 2040. Was that not clever? No. Riviera 2040. And on Riviera 2040, oh, no, you didn't do it. It's not showing you, but it's showing me. I wasn't as clever as I thought. Well, yeah, I know, I'd say it too. Well, anywho, fine. You don't want to participate. I neither do I. Okay, I'm just going to move on with it. On Riviera 24, I did this at the council the other day, and it also didn't work. Where are we? There we go. There we go. Well, on Riviera 2040, you're able to see our draft documents, and then at some point it becomes final. The reason why it's in drafts is because we want you to review it, and we want you to say, no, actually, my street has holes all over the place, and you just said that it didn't have too many holes, right? We're wanting the public to review it, to give their comments on it, and then that way we're able to finalize it. So you're able to find that on our website, and we'll be pushing it out through your emails if we have your email, and if you're part of the city's database, you'll be seeing that in your emails within the next couple of weeks. Okay. We also have our summary of our last meeting that we had in April. I was able to see some of you guys there. I know I will see the rest of you in August. And at these meetings, this is just our big open house. We're not sitting down to hear someone talk. We get to hang out. We get to play games. We get to do different, you enjoyed it. We get to do different things so we can capture the information from you. And right now, our staff, because we have a steering committee, we have a staff steering committee, they're able to review the different data analyses that they have on our city to see, does it really reflect what our staff is facing every day? Is this data truly relevant? Because that data that they're collecting, whether it be demographics, economic, infrastructure, this will tell us the policies that we are making, they need to align with what's our reality, how we really are. I'm going to talk faster because we have a whole lot of other folks that need to go. So far, I told you we had our meeting in April. This is a little picture from that meeting in April. But we've also been showing up because not everybody goes to set meetings because you're probably working or you're probably doing something or probably doing something exciting and fun. And so we have these things called pop-ups. And in these pop-ups, I randomly show up to things like I invited myself to this meeting tonight. So I popped up. And so we try to go where the community is. We try to show up and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Let me get your idea. And folks have fun, and they write on sticky notes, or they talk to me, or they do whatever is fun at the moment. And I'll show you some fun events that we've done. I'm going to start off from May because I'm just stealing from my P&Z presentation. So in May, we participated in the staff's wellness fair, so we can kind of hear what our staff is thinking. We went around and surveyed people at the Tiki Market just to say, hey, what do you think? How do I reach you best? And in here, that was pretty cool because there was like, we do really better if you put like door hangers at our home so that way we see things and we can view things. And I said, I will make sure that happens. I'm a team of one, so I'm a little slow getting to your home, but I'm going to get there. In June, we participated in the Seafood Festival. We participated in a gardening trip where we had the kids tell us about food. What are their thoughts? Why do we need it? What's happening? We live in a food desert. And they were telling me, what are some of the things that they need? They need more space in backyard so they can have gardens. They need a big grocery store so they can get to, that they can walk to it and not have to drive miles out for. This was an awesome trip. They were amazing. And our master gardeners here in the city are amazing. And we also participated in the family event for Juneteenth at the library. We are rescheduling, I should have took that off, we are rescheduling our seniors sip and paint. And when we said sip, it's the juice. Today, we participated in Coffee with the Cop. Oh, that picture didn't come out the best, but I got to hang out with cool cops for a few minutes, and that was awesome. This is an initiative, and I know that Chief will talk about it a little bit more, but this initiative was amazing because we were able to meet people that you're not used to meeting every day. One woman talked to me about homelessness and what's happening here in the city for her family and people around her. That was amazing. Where would I have gotten that at some random, stuffy meeting, right? And then what we'll be doing is we'll be participating. We have 3 or 4 others set up for the month of July, where we'll be going to the Black Merchants Association, the Library Advisory Board, and Jazz on the Beach in July. Okay, so now it comes to you. I say all this to say, I really need you to participate. I really need to hear you, and I'd love to hear you. I can sit forever and just talk to you because you live here. This is your home. This is where you have invested, and I know this is where you'd like to see go further, so your investments go further, right? And when we say investment, even our leisure time, our time, this is where we place our time. And so, like I said, I'll see you guys in August, so we already made our rendezvous for that. I'll also see you around the city at different events that we have. But I also love if you leave me a comment, let me know what's going on. You can even send a text if that's something you love to do. That number accepts text messages. We have an email address. If you want to send an amazing letter to me, go for it. If it's ugly, I'll take that too. Visit our website, Riviera 2040. Let's go again, Riviera 2040.org. Okay? And I need help getting the word out. I'll need your help getting that word out. Some of the ways that we're going to be doing it is councilperson meetings, right? I'll be doing door-to-door surveying and sending out our surveys door-to-door. I won't make it everywhere. I'm going to make it in my areas that I don't normally get everyone's comments from. And also we'll be sending it in our BTR, our business renewals surveys. I'll be sending there. And if I have bigger copies, don't worry, I gotcha. I saw your eyes squinting. But are there any questions for me? And you can invite me to whatever you're doing. I'll show up, even if it's your kid's birthday party. If you have any questions for me, I can take them now, or you want them to send it via email or text message, because I have that. Excellent. You know the number and you know the email. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and have a wonderful one.
Thank you so much. It's so important that we get input from everybody in the community on the comp plan. We talk about the comp plan a lot on Singer Island because, as you know, it regulates things like our special preservation area, near and dear to our hearts. So thank you, Sunit. And now I'm going to ask Mr. Evans to come back and talk a little bit about, and I say a little bit, it's 6:20. Do we all know what happens at 7 o'clock? Jazz on the beach at 7 o'clock. So we will be finishing here at 5 minutes to 7, so we can all get over to the beach to see the jazz. So therefore, when I say Mr. Evans is going to say a few short words about what's happening in the city, I am so excited. I can't tell you how thrilling it is to be part of the changes that are going on in Riviera Beach now. So Mr. Evans is going to review those, do another quick introduction of some new staff members we have here, and then we'll be off to jazz.
All right, so she said I have to say a few words, so I'm going to turn the presentation over to others that can speak a little bit longer than I. But Mr. Bailey runs our capital projects team and can speak to you about some of the capital projects and things we have going on. And then I want to turn it over to the chief. On our website, we have a tab called Reimagine Riviera Beach. If you click on that tab, it has all our capital projects and some of the initiatives that we're working on. So I'll have Mr. Bailey run you through some of the things that we're doing and some of the status reports. And then also, Mr. Bailey, if you can give Sarah a couple minutes to communicate what her vision is for business and economic development, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised about what she's going to help us do and create what we believe to be our community of choice, where it's one stop for everything. We want you to spend your disposable income here. We want you to have nice restaurants here. We want you to have all the modern amenities that all the other communities have. So, Mr. Bailey.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's kind of funny. I was actually sitting at my desk when I forgot about this meeting, writing the update to the Capitol because it's due tomorrow at 2 o'clock, or there'll be consequences. And so you will see a brand new update on the city's website probably late next week, early the following week, because staff has till 2 to get it done. I'll start with a great project. If you haven't been following it, City Hall. We're talking about it for a long time. There are 3 main components of City Hall: the actual City Hall proper that'll go on Broadway, and then the old City Hall site, north and south. There's a major redevelopment in the plan that's gone to council once. Right now, we're on trajectory to either late June, late July at the council meeting, or early August, hopefully come back with an award recommendation for award to the City Council for a vendor to begin processing our vision, I should say your vision, for the City Hall project and the redevelopment at Blue Heron and Avenue H. So that is a couple years in the making, and hopefully we will see that come through very quickly. As Mr. Evans mentioned, Fire Station 88 is a labor of love for me and Fire. We've been at that project for a number of years. The grand opening is July 8th. That's next Saturday. So next Saturday, please put it on your calendar, 11 to 1 o'clock. Get there early, get a good tour. We are extremely proud of that project. I will say, for those who've been coming to these meetings, when we began Reimagine Riviera Beach, we knew that Fire Station 88 was going to be the first project. And the first thing Mr. Evans said to the staff was, put a flag in the ground. When you come off I-95, I want people to know where they're at, and I don't want anything that we will ever be ashamed of. And I am extremely proud of the turnout of that project. There were a couple of big benchmarks. When the roofs finally went up, everyone said, wow, it's big. And then we had to explain why it's so big and all the function there. And the next big benchmark is when the lights got turned on the outside about 3 weeks ago, and you could actually see a lot of the little nuances of how well it looks at night. Phones lit up like a Christmas tree on those two big occasions, and so we're extremely proud of the investment that you've made in this community for public safety and our first responders. I see you looking, you're not getting one of those. Okay. Yeah. It's always a rivalry between police and fire. They're like, whatever you do, ours got to be bigger. I'm like, there's no money for that. Now, also, if you watched the P&Z meeting last week, Fire Station 87, which is at Avenue H, got approved by P&Z. That will also be on the City Council meeting on July 19th for site plan approval. We are looking to go straight into construction. So prayerfully, in August, you will see the old fire station go down, and they will start about a 14, 15-month construction process on the brand new fire station. Images of the fire station will be in the memo as soon as I drop them in the Word file here tomorrow and get them out, so you'll be able to see some of the aesthetics. If you want to get an early picture, if you go back and watch the P&Z meeting from last week, you could see the renderings of how that fire station will look. Not to steal the fire department's thunder, but that is going to be a homage to the firefighters of Riviera Beach. The word museum has been tossed around a little bit. Museum kind of gives you a little wrong connotation, but there will be a significant portion of the lobby area dedicated to those who have been protecting this community for nearly 100 years. So that is an element that we focused on intently so that everyone knows who has been here protecting you for all of this time, the faces, the chiefs, and things like that. So those are the two fire stations that are currently in the plan. Who's next? Oh, the police station. So there's two real big subjects, obviously, and I'm not going to steal the chief's thunder. From a capital perspective, the old police station is being decommissioned, and they are moving their operations to the Port Center. I'm sure the chief will get deeply into that and all of the logistics. As well, at the last council meeting, the council approved moving forward with a brand new police station at the old Barracuda Bay site at Avenue S and Blue Heron. We are looking in the next 6 weeks to put out a solicitation for a vendor to begin the process of design and getting towards construction. So that project is ongoing, and let's hope in the next 3 years we'll be able to have a nice grand opening for that project as well. Let's see. Other projects that we can speak on. I think those are really the large projects. The CRA, as you know, has a number of projects, 2600 Blue Heron, the old Miami sub-site. I'm not directly connected with those, but there's not someone from CRA here who can explain it, but they're in the middle of their solicitation project, and as they go through each of the appropriate phases, that'll come back to the community for ratification by the boards, both the CRA board and the council, and going through the normal development process. So we are moving here in the city. I would estimate we have anywhere from a $400 to $600 million capital program that we're currently implementing. Again, this is not right now, but what is on the horizon and what we are planning, so that, as you can see, it takes a while to get these projects done. So while you all sleep, we plan so that we're never too late for you when you have a need here in the community. So with that, I will turn it back over to Ms. Botel. Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah.
Yes. Good evening, Sarah Maxfield. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure Dr. Botel appreciates it and staff appreciates it. So happy to be a resident of Riviera Beach. I've lived here for about 3 years now. And as Mr. Evans mentioned, I've worked the last 2 years as the Economic Development Director in the city of Delray Beach, but I was really itching to work in the community where I live because that's what I've always done. Prior to that, I was in Ohio for 28 years, and I did economic development there as well in an Appalachian part of Ohio, so I come from a very challenged community. So the good news is I know how to do a lot on a shoestring budget, and I know how to leverage resources of our partners for the best potential outcome, and that's what I intend to do here. Right now, I'm just about a month in. I'm still understanding the economic landscape and the business landscape here, trying to determine what we can do with programming, what some low-hanging fruit would be, and ultimately, you know, there's an increased need and strain on city budgets for all the services that we provide to all the residents. And as you may or may not know, our commercial tax base is really what helps keep your taxes down. So if you want to keep enjoying those low mill rates or rolling them back or keeping them even, we have to grow commercially in order to do that. So what we really want to do is make sure that we pay attention to our entrepreneurs, our small businesses that want to home grow them and help them be successful, but we also have to pay attention to the opportunities that are around us. So I know sometimes development can be a dirty word and it scares us, but what I'm really here to do is to help guide the rest of the city in understanding the value proposition. And we don't have to take everything. We can be very purposeful and mindful about what we want in our community, and we have those opportunities. So I'm really hoping that we can put some really good guardrails in place so that we can really leverage those opportunities for the betterment of our community without impeding too much on our residences, and understanding our neighborhoods are really important as well. So with that, I will pass this on.
Good evening. Chief Coleman, the finest, I work for the finest city in Palm Beach County, the city of Riviera Beach, and I'm happy and elated to be working in this amazing city. Like the city manager said, it's a place that I wanted to be for a long time, and I finally got the opportunity to be here. And day one, when I got to this city, I said I wanted to reduce crime and eliminate fear. And every time I get off 95 and get off Blue Heron Boulevard, I hated the image that I saw. And day one, when I got off the avenue, get off that boulevard, I wanted to clean up that boulevard. Within 30 days, those men back there in the back made it possible for you to get off Blue Heron Boulevard and drive down and don't see the open air drug dealing that you saw about 40 days ago. And we continue that. Also, my business model as far as law enforcement is community policing. I love kids and I love shaping and developing communities. And how we doing that? We do that as a partnership with all the business owners, with the school teachers, with the families, with the landscape individuals, with public works. Without those collaborations that we have, we cannot be successful as an organization. So we are doing a great job. Those same men back in the back, they're working with every entity in this city to ensure that crime is reduced and you have a quality community. As you know, this is Singer Island. And when I came in, I analyzed the entire 10 square miles of the city. And I have a good footprint understanding of each grid of the city, what's impacting the city. And what we have done, we have put together a comprehensive plan on how to reduce crime and fear by deploying our resources fairly across the board to impact crime and look at productivity throughout the whole city. Now, this is Singer Island, and Singer Island, people say you don't have a lot of crime. Regardless of having crime or not, we put resources in this city to make sure crime does not happen. As far as we put an office space right here in this building with 2 captains that's going to be here 7 days a week, and with their officers will be here. And on top of that, we have a Marine Patrol unit a traffic unit and a spark car will be over here on a regular basis to ensure that you feel safe, regardless of what the numbers are. I want you to feel safe every single day you wake up. So back to what I love. I love kids. I love senior citizens. I truly do, because they're very innocent people to me. We working directly with our kids in the PAL program to ensure our kids are getting the best tools they need to be successful and productive citizens in Riviera Beach. The city manager put money into our PAL program to make sure we impact our PAL kids 12 months out of the year, so they don't grow up being on my boulevard or my avenue in the life of crime. And that's an investment that the city manager has made to the city to make sure that crime does not continue to happen. We are in a reduction of crime in the city because of the deployment scheme that these guys have put together, and what this guy, Josh Lewis and Walker back there. We have a cold case investigator. We have cases that would never solve going back 30 years. Because of the investment that the city has made to eliminate that crime, to make you feel safe in your homes, we have solved a case for 28, that's been a cold case that going back 30 years. We have other cases that we're solving, been cold cases for 10 to 15 years, because we understand the importance of having closure to our families, and we hired to a retired investigator, FBI agents, to make sure that their cases are closed. And yes. Just today, we filed a case with the state attorney's office. They have another closure case that is several years old that committed, I think 2 years ago, that happened within the city. So we're not looking we're taking a global approach to what we do. And I can assure you today that this community here, you will have more officers in Singer Island than you ever had before. Every morning when I get up, I come here about 6:30, and I ride in the city. Right now, we know you have sober homes in the city. I ran a sober home program in Palm Beach County for many years. We have identified the sober homes in your community, and we're starting to investigate those sober homes and remove them from Singer Island. Currently, we had 142 homeless individuals living citywide in Riviera Beach. We reduced those numbers. You only have about 12 to 15 homeless individuals that we have identified living in the Barrier Island. Now, why did they come to Barrier Island? We had several feeding sites on Singer Island. We removed those feeding sites from Singer Island because you draw people to Singer Island. And currently, you only have 12 to 15. So these are some that I know we only have, be here by 5 till, but we definitely going to have set up a regular standing monthly meeting with the Singer Island residents. Mr. John Miller twisted my arm to have a meeting with him once a month. So we're going to have a regular standing chief breakfast in Singer Island the first Monday of every month at Mulligan. So any of your concerns, you can come out and we'll have a conversation about what's taking place in your city, as not Singer Island, in your city or Riviera Beach, and we're going to talk about how we can make it better. And I want to turn it over to my Mr. Coppins here, because he's going to talk about some things that he wants done as far as internally within our organization.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold you too long. I mean, I think I spoke to the city manager in the last meeting. The chief brought me here to kind of run the day-to-day operation of the facility, and our goal is obviously with the officers is to make sure that they're positive and they're progressive in how they go about their job. We want to make this the finest police department in this county. I've worked for some great agencies. I was with the sheriff's office before I came here working on gun crime, and I was with West Palm for 25 years. 2 great agencies. Riviera Beach, my brother was here 30 years. It's a great department. It's a great department with good people. We have to give them the tools to go out there and be the best officers they can be, and that's my goal. We're not going to hamstring them. We're not going to handcuff them. Get out here and do your job. Accountability is number one in productivity. So if you have any issues, please feel free. We have an open door policy. If we can make this place better, let us know. And I appreciate all you folks coming out. It's a good turnout. I appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Their back windows smashed in last night. And there was a police response.
Okay.
They I was curious. They were both the back left window behind the driver, and they said, maybe they were looking for guns. Well, what do you know about that? What are they looking for? And what is that something in particular? If they break the back window, that it doesn't set off the alarm on the cars?
No, what used to happen is they would break the small vent window out because it wouldn't be apparent that one of the windows were missing if they were going to steal your vehicle. That kind of changed over the years. The other thing is, you brought up a good point. Your car's not a gun safe. Do not leave firearms in your car. They do break into your car looking for firearms.
One car had roll of paper towels. I mean,
They may have been.
we don't have any guns in the cars. So what? Who
As I stated,
do you suspect is doing this?
as I stated before, you have several sober homes on Singer Island. When they relapse, they stay in a beautiful community, which is River Beach. You got a beautiful beach. They're looking for 5, 10 cents. They're looking for $1. Looking for 35 cents. They're looking for anything to go buy them a meal or buy some drugs. So based on all the homeless individuals living, when they relapse out of these sober homes, they stay here. And then when people are actually doing the right thing by being human to them, they continue to stay here. So a lot of time when people break in your car, they're looking for change in your car, pennies, some 35, 40 cents. They go buy a soda or go buy a single cigarette or something like that. So they're not going to get a lot by breaking into your car. Hopefully they don't. They look for any little thing they can sell, you know.
Maybe this is a good segue for questions, since we're running around with the microphone.
I don't have a question, but I have something to say about Chief Coleman. I want you to know when he said he was going to be in the community, he has been everywhere. Everywhere I keep seeing him, I keep wondering, does the man work 24 hours a day? But
yes.
most important, last weekend, I went to a male fashion show. And who was one of the models in the suit category, in the casual wear category, and in the uniform category? So we were so proud to have our chief of police as
I
one
was
of the
working on my
models.
raise.
I better take that microphone away from her. Yes.
That was undercover work.
As a resident here, I appreciate your sensitivity to senior citizens and to children. And Singer Island has many seniors living here. And what makes me nervous, I love the Ocean Wall. We go there for lunch, for dinner, for entertainment. But we've had a couple murders there, which is so shocking to me, as well as a murder in the Hilton. So what is your understanding about why the murders are occurring on the Ocean Wall? Is that just drug-related? Is it just two bad actors getting into each other?
I'm going to let my investigator, Captain, Major, answer that, because he has an institutional knowledge of this city, and he can answer that question. Please. Don't be.
Yeah, the incidents that took place on Singer Island and the homicides that took place, those were not random acts. Those were individuals that had problems with each other, and they acted on it. Those are things that nobody could prevent. The only thing that we can do is hold them accountable, and in both cases, they were arrested and they're in custody. So there was never a danger. They weren't out more than 48 hours. We were solving cases almost as quick as they happened. And unfortunately, sometimes you can't stop two people who are drinking and they get in an argument and they go outside and a bad act takes place. But we can hold them accountable, and that's exactly what we did.
So these were targeted, not random.
Yeah, they were problems that two people had with each other, and it led to bad incidents.
I retired, me and my wife, 11 years ago. We had our houses here for 40-some years. 11 years ago, we had very little, if any, coverage over here. And when I retired and I saw that, it was like, why? You know, because you need it. I don't care how safe you are or think that you're safe. Our police is what protects us, period, right? We have turned that around basically like a 360 all the way around. And I'm going to say that I thank every one of our officers, right? You do a great job. I know it's a tough job. You know, we have family. Charles' father was a 30-year state trooper. My son is still 2 years left to retire in New Jersey. So we know a little bit more. But I wanted to ask you people, when you see a police officer and you walk by them, thank them. And not only thank them, but tell them to please stay safe. We were just back up in New Jersey. We had one of my son's friends, 26 years old, pulled a guy, I saw a guy with a warrant. He shot, and he went to run. Officer got out and chased him. He didn't know the officer didn't know he had a gun. Turned around and shot him. The officer got one shot off, which killed this individual. Right?
Yes, sir.
But this guy, this young man, 26 years old, the two officers came on the scene, grabbed him and threw him in the car and got to save his life for a while. All right? Just drove him straight up to the trauma center. And 2 months later, he died because he lost his leg and it went off. What I'm telling you, they put their lives on the line. And I'm hoping, I know you use their management,
yes,
that we can give our officers a raise. Jonathan, because
Well,
you know what? They deserve it.
Let me address that about the Barrier Island. I'm a firm believer that you always need coverage in the Barrier Island, and we have informed our dispatchers and informed our captains and supervisors on duty that you don't pull officers away from the Barrier Island unless there's a dire emergency. Backups and traffic stop, you don't want them to leave, because I always like to do call a point in time count, and once they leave this island, they're gone for at least an hour. So they don't get pulled unless they actually go into a critical incident, something like that. The officers on this Barrier Island should not get taken away from this island unless it's a critical, dire emergency, and they don't leave this island. Currently, you have 2 Marine units. There's two officers. You have 2 beach units, and you have a cover car, a zone unit. And now you're going to have the traffic. We just moved the traffic unit to nights, so they'll have more coverage at nighttime because of the visibility. I mean, the activity along the Barrier Island, vacationers, kids out of school. So the traffic unit would be reassigned to nighttime for DUI enforcement, traffic enforcement, speeding along the Barrier Island. So some of those, that officer will be over here as well. And like I spoke earlier, you got 2 captains will be here having their meetings. We're starting to have staff meetings here in this building, so you'll have more visibility coming across that bridge, so you'll see more activity. So we're starting to, and I understand your concern. You and I had a great conversation today, and I appreciate that. We have looked at every square mile of this city, and I can tell you that we have everything covered, and nothing will be unmanned. But we are holding our officer accountable at the same time, because we understand that productivity is very important. If you're not visible, you probably sleep somewhere hiding out. And I don't want you to sleep. And like I told you before, I track cars, I track radios. I know where every officer is at all times in this city. So I can tell you, without telling you too much, I know what's going on in Singer Island, and I know what my officers are doing 24/7 when they're in Singer Island. And some of them, my productivity are great, some productivity not so great. But when they're not great productivity, we have to make those moves. So that's what we're doing in Singer Island. Yes, ma'am.
My last question is about our fire station. I'm very excited about the new fire station going up, but I'm worried about ours. We live in high rises, and it's not easy for elderly people to be running out and coming down 20, 30 floors.
I give to the money man.
Yeah, so I know land is an issue. Where are we going to build it? I know about that. So what is the status at the moment of our station?
You know, there's a couple of things that, you know, talk about what keeps you up at night. The station that we have here out of all our fire stations is the station that is in the most need for repair and basically reconstruction. It's not at the point where we can facilitate a renovation of that. We have to demolish and reconstruct. We have had staff take a look at the possibility of acquiring land, but obviously we look to acquire land at the wrong time, because what we could have bought 5, 10 years ago is substantially more. 2 acres that we would need to build a fire station to what we build fire stations to now is going to cost just probably $5.5 million. And then that's a significant chunk of property we would take off the tax roll. So right now, as we are going through some of the hydraulic testing and the testing for the water treatment plant, we're looking at ways that we can possibly reconfigure the site that we have, and we're probably going to go from a 3-bay station to possibly a 2-bay station to be able to reconstruct on that particular site. But that site is still the primary site where that fire station will be. Our backup plan for our fire station is you're sitting in it. In the event that I get the call from the chief at whatever time and he says, Mr. Manager, we've got to get folks out of there, this location is contemplated to be reconfigured for the purposes of providing fire services and EMS services out of here. So we're already thinking about that, but we are really on borrowed time when it comes to that particular fire station. And so we are looking for some alternatives to try to move this item forward. But you can see the temporary fire station that we have across from City Hall. It is also contemplated that we may have to, once we move them out of that temporary fire station, we've had discussions with the property owner of the vacant property here, and that may be, you may see a temporary fire station there as we look to construct that site if we cannot utilize this space. So we've talked about Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C, but you're absolutely right. This station is probably got maybe 18 months of life left, if that. So that's something that's a major priority for us.
And I know there are lots of moving parts to make a decision, such a big decision. So when do you expect that you'll be able to make a decision? Because after the decision comes another 3 or 4 years to get permits and building, et cetera.
We're already having the conversation internally about that. Fire Station 87, that's the main station where the Emergency Operations Center, that goes before the board. And once that gets approved from the board, Mr. Bailey and Chief Kurt and I are now having the conversations about, okay, what are the options for us on the station on the island? But what's doing, I have to get the hydraulic testing from the utility district, because we're trying to see with the new water plant and what we're trying to do, is there a way to possibly remove that water tank from its location? Because that water tank is helping with additional capacity and pressure and the like. And so we're looking, if they say, hey, it's good and water pressure is going to be better on the island, then that tank goes away. If not, I've got to configure it on that particular site. And so they're probably about 3 months away from being able to give us a report and say yes, no, or indifferent.
So in 2024, you should be able to make a decision about which option. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. That's fair to say.
And when you talk about this being a possibility, are you talking about this whole block?
This particular unit that we're in right now, this building, this would be where they would live here. This will be their living quarters, and then we'd have to create some covered area to park the fire apparatus.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Just want to say thank you for Dr. Patel to come forward and respond to concerns about neighborhood issues in Singer Island, houses that are having drugs and things done in it. And her herself actually came to the property and talked to the individual. I was just blown away by that. Thank you. But also the police officers, I want to thank every one of you, because you guys been awesome, responding to everything, answering phone calls, showing up. I greet everyone, like saying, say hello, I say hello, and thank them for being and doing the jobs you guys do. I appreciate that. I know it's not easy. There's a lot going on in our strip mall with the shootings and stuff like that, the Sands. I know you have some very hard issues to deal with in our area. I used to live where I sold the property on 1010 Beach Road, and it was so bad. It just was. So I respect what you guys are doing. I have concerns about the bridge issues, the construction. is that a state-operated thing where they have state inspections coming out? I have not seen any state. I'm a contractor. I've actually not seen, typically they're pretty apparent doing inspections. I drive back and forth often. The inspection process is pretty stringent on certain kind of types of buildings. I've not seen a lot of exposure of inspectors and what have you on the bridge. Just a question. In addition to that, we have the Tierra and the Amoret coming online as far as our sewers, water, and usage, power, the power grid, what have you. There was concerns they used this drainage to drain stuff into our sewers for a very long time in the beginning of the operations. I brought it to the attention of the building department. I just want to make sure at some point in time before the TCO comes into place that someone pays attention to the drainage that's next to the Marriott, that they drained into that sewer drain for quite some time. I have photos and pictures of that, and it occurred for quite a long time. They drained out into that area, which drained back into our sewer lines for outfall from the construction sites. We have other buildings that have come online up and down the block, new buildings that have been erected, and of course their demands on our utilities are great, and I know our already existing utilities are in strain and having a difficult time. Water, sewage. I'm not exactly sure about the electric, honestly, but I do know there's other utilities that we've been working with and have problems with. I just want to know that we're keeping on track, or at least keeping that in the back. I see you over there. In the forefront of what's going on. And I know it's substantial because if you occupy all those buildings, that's a lot of people using all the facilities all at one time and coming back online into our sewers and what have you, into our properties. It's just an issue I just want to bring to the forefront, that we're still paying attention to that. I know we have beach path issues and what have you. Thank you.
Yes, certainly. I'll defer to the engineer who's part of the review process and has to sign off on a lot of that stuff. So he can talk to some of the infrastructure things that are required for projects such as the Amoret.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so if you need any legal services, if there's a ticket or anything more serious, or if you plan on something, I'm the guy to come to make sure before that. No, but seriously, when every single project applies for site plan approval, it is reviewed, as you heard Sunit, it goes through a process. The first thing is the comp plan. Does it comply or does it need to be rezoned? The land development code. And then the technical reviewers, myself, John Armstrong, and the utility special district, review for a multitude of things. There is a concurrency requirement. Concurrency means, is there capacity, right? You'll hear concurrency for schools, roads. Water, sewer, drainage are another element that is reviewed for concurrency. So a project can't even get to P&Z or to the council for review or consideration if there is not concurrency. And that concurrency statement has to be made by the utility special district. So that project would have been reviewed and concurrency would have been verified at the time.
Thank you. Oh, yes.
Well,
Go.
that's not an engineering question.
They have a TCO right now, so they're not open yet. But they always do this by design. If they wait till after December 31st, they don't have to pay taxes to the following year. So they always wait because they don't want to get on the tax roll. So if they get their CO on December, if they get their CO by December, they have to pay taxes this year. So I'm sure that they will probably be opening. I think they're really eager, so they may look to move a little bit faster this year. But I would not be surprised if January 2nd we have a request for a certificate of occupancy. But that's what all major developers do. They know that cycle, and they definitely work that to their advantage.
Thank you. I'm going to hand this microphone to Sammy Brown in a minute, but it reminds me with him sitting here, my alter ego, my best buddy next to JB, where is she? Next to JB for many years here on the island and in the city. And now I have Mary Small, and I was remiss that I didn't introduce Mary in the very beginning. Mary, many of you have already met Mary, and she's my new Sammy, and she's been doing a great job, and it's wonderful to have her here. And if you need her for anything, it's msmall@rivierbeach.org. And now I will hand the microphone.
I've got to say, Mary's probably doing a better job than I did, but but I just wanted to thank Dr. Botel before we close out, because many of the services that we're seeing here, the ample amount of services that were being provided, comes from Dr. Botel and the direction that she's provided and the leadership she's provided. Just going back from Dr. Botel's first term, we didn't even have a dedicated officer over here on Singer Island. Now thanks to the leadership of our police department, we have 2 captains over here, Marine unit, and a couple other things you touched on, and not to mention our new economic and business development manager that Dr. Botel begged and begged for, and Mr. Evans so kindly made sure it happened. But with that, I just wanted to thank you, Dr. Botel.
Oh, thank you. I thought she said sarcasm when she came up to me, and then I realized, no, she's talking about seaweed. So, yes, we've had a lot of questions about the rack line on the beach, and the rack line is the mess, if you will, of seaweed that's out there. There was a big floating sargassum island practically out there. It's diminished somewhat, and people say to me, why can't you get rid of it? This city should get rid of it. We're not allowed to get rid of it. We can bury it. I'll let Jonathan take it.
Right, and to your testament to your district representative, she sends more emails at more times than I have to flag them because there's so many. I'm like, why don't you just put it all in one email? But she is definitely very responsive and very conscientious of everyone's issue, regardless if it's a city issue or not. So this particular situation, obviously, we did a little bit of research and had conversations with representatives from Palm Beach County and other environmental agencies. And yes, all we can do as a city, we can bury it. We can't even rake it. We can't do anything. You can bury it because in the ecosystem, it is intended to provide some food sources for the microorganisms and the like. And so there's really nothing you can do with it. I know it's an inconvenience. I know it's a pain, but certainly we did look into it. There's nothing we can do except bury it. So it's only going to be with us for a little bit. And so all you got to do is walk over it, and then you can just jump right into the water, and you won't even remember it.
Thank you. I want to thank city staff for being here. I promised I would stop at 7. We will stay after a little bit if anybody has questions, but I know there are many people who want to get over to the jazz concert, including Walter, and so I want to thank you for being here this evening. Thanks to those of you who are watching from home, and thank you to staff for participating. Appreciate it.